Hi, I'm Amaya and welcome back to my channel. This is a video that I have been teasing for months now. I've been following TNX since their first comeback and I always find a way to mention them in my videos, whether I'm talking about survival shows or groups that don't have musical direction. We are doing a deep dive on the entire group to figure out what happened to them and why. Let's start at the very beginning. PNation was founded in November of 2018 by Psy. It was previously home to artists like Jessie, Hyuna, and Dawn, who really like to take well-established artists who didn't exactly make pop per se with kind of interesting reputations and sign them. However, when Psy decided to create his own group, this posed some new challenges that he may not have been ready for. Psy decided to form his first ever group through a survival show. He paired up with JYP of JYP Entertainment on a survival show called Loud. On this show, they set out to form one boy group under each company and debut them within a similar time frame. JYP and Psy brought a couple of trainees to the show, and they had auditions for outside people who wanted to be in one of their groups. The auditions were 21 and under at that point. So that is an important point we're going to come back to later on. Psy ended up with 7 members after the show. He had Kyungjun, Taehan, Hyunsu, Junhyuk, and Sungjun, who were all trainees under his company before the show. And then he picked up Eunhui and Koki from the show. I'm going to tell you where the members of TNX finished. Junhyuk was in 2nd place, Koki was 4th, Eunhui was 5th, Kyungjun was 6th, Taehan was 10th, Hyunsu was 11th, and Sungjun was 12th. Some of the eliminations throughout the show were based on fan votes, and some of them were based on the judges' decisions. The survival show Loud ended on September 11th, 2021. On January 24th, 2022, it was announced that Koki was being removed from the debut lineup of PNation's first boy group. He was the second most popular member of PNation's debut group. Of course, it makes sense that they wouldn't want to debut a 12 or 13-year-old in this group since everyone else was a little bit older, but it seems strange that they would let him participate in the entire show and then tell him that he can't be in the final group once he made it all the way to the end. After Koki's removal from the debut lineup, the next big event for the group was their debut, which happened on May 17th of 2022 with the song Move and their album Way Up. As I always say, your group's debut needs to be close to the end of your survival show. There were 8 months between the show's ending in September and the group's debut in May. This could have hurt their chances at capitalizing on that big audience they had of people who started watching the show. Move is hands down TNX's most popular title track to date, and it had a few iconic moments, so I would say that this was pretty well done for their debut. TNX was nominated for a few Rookie of the Year awards during this award show season. Although they didn't win at Mama, they won at every other award show they were nominated at, including the Genie Awards, Hanteo Music Awards, Seoul Music Awards, and the Fact Music Awards. Overall, I would say this was a pretty successful year for them from 2021 to 2022. Their first comeback was February 15th, 2023 with the mini album Love or Die. This is when I became a fan, so this time period was pretty important for me. Love or Die is my second favorite title track from them, and this album has the song Slingshot, which I definitely recommend. It's one of their best songs, hands down. Love or Die is a little more emo, which is definitely a switch up from the style they had on their debut. I would normally say something about the group going 9 months between their debut and their first comeback, but member Junhyuk had anxiety at this time, so he was not able to participate in their first comeback, which would explain why they pushed it back so far. Love or Die is their highest selling album to date, so I would count this as being their peak period when the group had the most popularity and the most support. Their next mini album, Boyhood, was released on June 7th, 2023, only 4 months after their previous comeback, so this was a really good space in between comebacks. Their title track, Kick It For Now, got a lot of attention online because it came out at that same time New Jeans and everyone else was really into the Y2K 90s throwback style. I feel that they didn't fully capitalize on their popularity at this time. We didn't see them doing a lot of variety content. We didn't see them doing a lot of promotion outside of the typical music shows and performances like that. I do not think this is the best strategy for success, changing up your style every single comeback when you're still building an audience. This was also when the group changed their name to The New Six. Normally, I would say something about a name change messing with branding, but in this case, the name change made a lot of sense because it reestablished that the group was 6 members It also was better for search engine optimization because if you search TNX, the first thing that comes up is going to be stock information. If you search the new six, the first thing that comes up is going to be the group. 2024 was the most disappointing year for me as a TNX. That's their fan group name. First off, the group had no physical releases the entire year. They released one song the entire year. This dropped on March 20th, and it was called Fuego. Fuego was their first digital single, and it was kind of a return to form with their loud boy group sound from Move. I did not like this song, to be honest. I think it doesn't sound as good as their other songs, but it is their second most viewed music video. The reason that they probably only had one release this year is that they were on a survival show. They were on Road to Kingdom Ace of Ace. A lot of boy groups that have kind of struggled or aren't super popular competed on the show to see who had the best ace. So an ace is a member who's good at a lot of different things. The New Six was the first group eliminated off of this show. If you want to hear me talk more about that, I have a video about survival shows. I'll link in the description box. The layout of the show was really weird because it was more focused on having one member who's good at a lot of different things as opposed to having a group that's good at different things. Overall, the show did not do much for the New Six, but we're gonna see why in just a moment. Despite their amazing performances, a little while after the group was eliminated on the show, the New Six came to their Instagram account to announce that member Kyungjun was leaving to perform his military service. This was a complete shocker. This is the original Heesung moment. This was why? They had just promoted on a survival show, which gave us some great performances from the group. Junhyuk just came back from his hiatus, and then all of a sudden we have Kyungjun leaving the group right after things should be getting back on their trajectory. For context, for people who aren't TNX, he was arguably the most popular member of the group. If you go on a website like K-Profiles, he is still the second most popular member about a year and a half after he left the group. He was the visual, the center, and he was the only one who spoke a foreign language, with him being Australian speaking English. I actually found out more information about his exit after I started writing my script, so here we go. I was watching some TikToks about TNX, and then I just happened to click on the comment section, and I found out that Kyungjun did not disappear from public life when he left the group. Typically when someone leaves a group and joins the military, you would think, okay, you don't want to be a public figure anymore. But to the contrary, we saw Kyungjun posting on TikTok and Instagram, and he was still doing idol-related activities with him dancing in most of his TikTok videos. He even had a little subscription on TikTok, which I was not going to pay for. He was posting until October 2025, so I believe after that he began to do his military service. Would you believe it? TNX has only had 2 comebacks since Kyungjun left in October of 2024. They had one comeback in March of 2025, 5 months after he left, and a whole year after their previous comeback, with the mini album For Real. This song was pop punk, which again was another style change from their previous albums. Their last comeback was in January of this year with the song Call Me Back, yet another digital single. I think digital singles are good for groups who are still finding their footing or who want to experiment in between comebacks. Why is TNX releasing digital singles when they've been out for almost 4 years now? Is it a monetary issue? If we look at the newest group under PNation, Baby Don't Cry, they have had 2 physical album releases in the time that TNX has had 1 digital and 1 physical album release. Baby Don't Cry's videos also seem to have a higher budget. Soyeon is also their producer, so it seems like they have more of a focus on their newer group compared to TNX. Here I made a graph of TNX's album sales chart since debut. I think TNX is a big display of missed potential. They average 8.8 months between comebacks. This is something that really bothered me as a fan because it felt like they were more TikTokers than K-pop idols. The worst part is that you can tell they want to put out more music. Eunhui just came out with a mixtape. He also showcased his producing and songwriting abilities on the show before they were kicked off. So it's annoying when they're not getting the opportunity to showcase these skills that they clearly want to show. Overall, after doing some analysis of the group, there are 3 problems that I think they need to fix in order to improve. Number 1 is having consistent branding. When you think of TNX, what do you think of? Even me as a fan, I can't think of anything specific. Maybe one of the iconic moments from the Move music video. Maybe you'll think of Kick It For Now. People don't know what to expect when your branding isn't consistent. They don't necessarily have a concept. They don't have one musical genre that they do. Styling, there's nothing stylistically that's the same throughout the comebacks. Visually, even all of the music videos look different. There's nothing for someone to pick up on and attach themselves to. It makes fans that kind of come and go. Okay, I like this song, I didn't like this one. I like this album, I didn't like this one. There is no through line. Next, we have sticking with the sound that they've had for the last two comebacks. These last two comebacks, they had the same kind of style. Although it's not my favorite thing, I think for the group at this point, they should stick with something. Have one particular sound that you want to do, and then continue on from there, doing more variety contents. I actually checked TNX's YouTube channel to see if they had been posting anything, and they had gone 3 or so weeks without posting anything to their YouTube channel except for shorts. You don't really see them on variety programs. I don't know if they did the Idol Star Athletic competition last year, but they're very hard to find. They almost follow the Blackpink model of dropping an album and being kind of quiet. You are not Blackpink. We need to see you. Where are you at? I think just getting visibility for the group would be a great thing to do. There isn't even news around the group that someone could be like, oh, wow. Like, you don't even hear about them in headlines or anything. Having more than one comeback a year. This is probably the nail in the coffin of why TNX is in the situation that they are. They need more than one comeback a year. And if you're releasing a digital single, maybe try to do an actual album later on in the year. This group is one where it's like, you could have flown so high. It's so sad to see that happen. Let me know what you guys think about this group in the comment section down below. Did you know about them? Were you a fan? Did you hear their debut and then never listen to another song? I basically forgot about them. I didn't even know that they were having a comeback until the song was already posted. And I'm subscribed, by the way. So for me, that was just like crazy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. While you're there, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. What? I just told you comment. Turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!